I selected to review the Fundamentals of Online Teaching and Learning course, CI6084. I decided to look at the course and review it to see if it met any quality matters standards and any of the universal design standards. The home page for the course had all the announcements and welcomes on it, and this was important for online learning, even more so than for other for classes held on campus, because this is the equivalent of the teacher standing up in front of the class and giving the announcements. Also, the home page had the main navigation menu and on the left hand side, and the menu was divided into 3 sections. The first section covered all the course expectations, the syllabus, anything to do with just the course. And the second section was the course content, so anything to do with the course, but it was the weekly units, the readings, the wikis, and the discussion forums. And then student resources was under the third. The weekly units, clicking on a weekly unit would bring up the main menu for weekly units. And as you can see on this page, the page is very simple. There's not a lot of graphics or a lot of animation or sound or audio. Multimedia learning theory states that we use technology, but we have to be aware of cognitive load and cognitive overload. This page is not glaring, it's easy to read, so I think it fits into the cognitive load theory quite nicely, that there's not too many inputs. Clicking on a unit brings up another very clean, well done page that has only a few graphics that do not take away. In the golden climate, where they show the picture of the baby looking at the words, this is basically what these graphics are doing. They're drawing attention to the sections. Again, multimedia learning theory is anchored instruction. So getting to know our learners, this is a voice thread, and the voice thread actually supported the objectives and the subject matter in this lesson. The role of the instructors on this one, in this course, was more of a mentor. They were encouragers, and they were always available. If you look under the course information where it says your instructor, you can see down here at the bottom they have an email that you can actually email the instructor to ask questions, or you can go to the discussion board. In our lessons, we learned that students feel disconnected. Like I said, that's from the Golden Climate, page 127 through. You can read it. It talks about being disconnected. The discussion forums help that. If we look at the discussion forums, we can see that that was used quite heavily. In online learning, this is normal and something that you do because it helps the students build a community of inquiry. Same thing with the wiki. You're building the knowledge base that from various and different people. So this is a really good example of that. The other thing that you don't see here is the blog. And with the blog, again, you're creating a community of inquiry. You're building knowledge together. So that was a good example of that. Getting into the quality matters before I run out of time here. Standard 1, the course overview. It met Standard 1, which is the course overview and introduction. They had the Start Here button, and Standard 1.6, Standard 1, Section 1.6 to 1.7 was of quality matters is about students introducing themselves, and activity 1 consisted of a quiz that encouraged learners to explore the LMS and to introduce themselves. So that met that quality matter standard. Also, the syllabus for this course stated clearly the objectives, standards, institutional policies, and grading procedures. What I liked about this syllabus is that it was non-typical because it aligned the course with professional educational standards. Weekly units contained activities that were um, Weekly units contained activities that were pertinent to the course. Instructions were given within each unit. So if you look at this unit here, you can see that it has the learning outcomes, the weekly checklist, and if you look at engaging your students, you can see uh, the instructions to watch and comment on this. When we go back up here, it's the same thing with um, the next activity. The instructions are step 1, 2, and 3, so they are clearly stated. Quality Standard 4 instructional materials. The materials were provided for the learners in the form of web links or articles and PDFs, and you can see here some links. And in other weekly units, you will see PDFs. This is, again, it is a desired way to deliver materials to the student. Standard 5, learner interaction engagement. This was our discussion forums and the Blackboard wikis and the blog, the classroom blog, class blog. They were also learner interaction engagement. Learners were given video assignments that allowed them to see each other, and by seeing each other, it helped to create a sense of community. The course technology. The course was designed such a way that students could easily navigate this site. The technology selected supported the objectives of the course, and the Blackboard LMS features used included a wiki, a discussion board, and a blog. Other technology we used included VoiceThread and the student's choice when creating video assignments. So on the discussion forums that were the video assignments were they were posted here, video reflection. So each student got to see the other students, and it kind of made you feel like you weren't alone. So that was good. That was an interaction. It also engaged the student in the lesson because it gave them something that they had to do. And they were allowed to use whatever they wanted to create the video. QM Standard 7 was on learner support, and as you can see down here under student resources, the students were supported through a discussion board, the virtual library, tech guides and helps, and Blackboard tools. And the instructors were more than willing to answer any emails. Standard 8 was accessibility. Cognitive load theory was applied to video or audio resources. When the lecture was done through VoiceThread, it wasn't such that it was overwhelming or hard to understand. It was done in such a way that the student did not become overwhelmed with things on the slides. And you can see this from looking here. You don't see a lot of activity. You don't see a lot of moving around. So this really helped with the cognitive overload. So that was I have to do this quickly, and I apologize, and I'll put up my script so you can read it. But that was my review. I felt that it met Quality Matter standards quite well. It was very hard to find anything in this course that was a weak point. I did come up with 2, and I will post that table as well. The 2 that I came up with on recommendations for was based on Quality Matters as well, and they were although the minimum technology needed was stated, there was no statement about learner technical skills, and Quality Matter Standard 1 Section 1.6 says minimum technical skills expected of the student are clearly stated. There was no, we knew what technology was needed to take the course, but not what was needed in the way of skills. So introducing that voice thread that first week could have been a disaster because learners have varying degrees of experience. My recommendation is to introduce each new technology with a short, very brief orientation exercise that isn't graded but can become a topic of discussion. This allows learners to tell you what they do or do not feel comfortable with when it comes to technology, and you don't want them to be turned off from the course because of the technology. Instructions for assignments need to be better defined. They were very well defined. Quality Matter Standard 3, Section 3.3 says specific and descriptive criteria are provided for the evaluation of students' work and participation and are tied to the course grading policy. Section 3.5, students have multiple opportunities to measure their own learning progress. So these assignments were objective. So it's very hard to assess and measure objective assignments. The way this was handled was a very good way to handle it, is to do measure on the timeliness and the thoroughness of the answers in the post. But still, the students need to know exactly what they need to do, and a good rubric will help that. Not just the 1, 2, 3, that is still needed, those instructions, but a rubric that tells them. And a good resource for this is Rubistar, and you can create one rubric that contains all assignments or one rubric per assignment. Like I said, I'll put this up and there will be a link to the Rubistar so you can look at that. So that was my assessment